Next topic is HTML5 Semantics. So this is the first UI related HTML5 topics we are going to cover in this code camp. So these are the set of topics: markup simplification and newly added structural and semantic elements. And we'll talk about the concept of microdata. And we'll also learn new form elements and input types and the attributes to the form and input elements, and we'll see how you can create the custom data attributes and select APIs. There are new JavaScript select APIs based on CSS selector. We'll talk about descriptive link relations, and finally for Y area for accessibility. Okay, markup simplification. So you probably have seen HTML5 document during the past few years, and it's a lot more simplified. So in terms of doc type, this is what we used to do. This is the old way of doing things. In the new way of doing doc typing is basically this. It's a lot simpler. Character encoding. So instead of doing this, we can just do this. And script tag, instead of doing this, we can just say this. Okay. For link tag, we can just do this instead of doing this. Okay. So a lot more things are simplified for existing tags. Relaxation from XHTML rules. Okay. So uppercase or mixed case tag names are now allowed in HTML5. Okay, so it doesn't have to be all small letters. So in this case, I'm using uppercase. Codes are optional for attributes. So in XHTML, the values of attribute have to be coded, but in HTML5 you don't have to. So in this case, I don't use any codes for these values. Okay, so they are optional. You can certainly have those codes. Closing empty elements are optional. Okay, so if the contents are the empty, then you don't have to have ending tag. So in this case, I have an input, but I don't have to have slash input closing tag because it doesn't have any content. Same thing for BR. Okay. I don't have to have a backward slash. We used to have a backward slash indicating, it is actually self-contained tag, but here we don't even have to do that. Attribute values are optional. So in this case, autocomplete, you can actually have a value on and off, but if you just don't have a value, then that's considered as on. Okay, so in this case, attribute values are not specified. The HTML5 also removed, several HTML4 tags that are considered not that much useful. So these are the set of HTML4 tags that are removed in HTML5. All right, so let's do exercise 1. So in this case, we are going to try a few markup simplifications. So if you click this guy, this is what you're going to see. Okay. Now let's take a look at the code. So here, if you take a look at the code, we are using input in capital. So this is typically what you used to do. Okay. Small letter for the element and the type with the value of quoted value. Here we are using uppercase. Okay, and here with code with no attributes. So here code with no attributes, right? This case, and this one has no values. Okay, and this one is autocomplete. So you can actually try this autocomplete. So let's try this. So if I say S, then yeah, it does as auto-completion. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna actually continue a few more slides, and then I'll let you guys to do exercise 1 and 2. Okay. Let me just close this guy? Newly added structural elements. So these are the set of newly added structural elements. So section represent generic document or application section, and the article represent independent piece of content of a document. Okay, could be blog entry or newspaper article. Aside represent the piece of content that is only slightly related to the rest of the page, and nav represent the section of the document intended for navigation. This is for dialogue, and this is for header, and these are the footers. Okay. All right, so let's compare old. This is the old HTML4, and this is HTML5. So this is actually not using this structural element. Okay. So in this case, the best thing you can do is using dev, and then you probably, in order to specify this is the header and this is a section, you probably use the name as the value of an ID of an element like this. Okay. But it actually requires the developer in a very disciplined manner. Okay. And this is actually HTML5 way of doing things. Now we have a header, and we have a nav, section, article, and things like that. Okay. So this actually gives you a lot cleaner way of describing your document. Okay. Now, why these added structural elements could be useful? It does not change or improve what the user sees, meaning the way the actual final output of the user is going to see the same, whether you are using this or this. Okay. So what is the point of using this structural element? Okay. So benefits include, as a developer, it simplifies the design of the page. So for me, by using this built-in structural element, I can actually design things a lot cleaner instead of doing this. This is a lot more vague, and if I make a mistake, right, like Article 2, if I actually by mistake actually not giving the right name, it's not going to complain, right? Okay. So here, by using these structural elements as a developer of this page, I can it's a lot cleaner for me to develop. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Provides more information to search engines. So search engines or even browsers, they can take advantage of these structural elements, and they might actually present this data, these things in a more appropriate way. For example, if you are displaying things in a mobile browser will actually make intelligent decision to display only maybe a section or header. Okay. By looking at the structural elements, because a mobile device doesn't have enough space, if it has to make a decision in terms of what to display, it could actually take into these structural elements into consideration. Okay? So it let the search engines or browser on different devices to take advantage of the meanings of those structural elements so that they can make intelligent decision. Enable building more intelligent HTML tools. So if you have to, if some vendors are actually developing HTML tools, okay, again, they can take advantage of these structural elements. Okay, so let's take a look at exercise 2. So here we are going to, if you run this guy, so this is created using structural elements. Okay, so if you take a look at the source, okay, you can see it's actually using header, nav, and article, and things like that. Okay. Okay, so this is what we are going to see. Okay, and you can certainly you can use the Chrome developer tool to play around with it. Now, as an experimentation, you can remove all those structural elements. Okay, so basically you can refresh the page, and you are going to see the same thing. Okay, so again, the key point of this structural elements is not for changing the actual layout or contents or look and feel. It's basically to help the tools. The tools could be again browser or search engine to make intelligent decisions. So in this exercise, it might not actually make that obvious, but that's the point of using this structure element. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you guys about maybe just 5 minutes to do exercise 1 and 2. Okay. Next, we are going to see newly added semantic elements. So we have seen newly added structural element, right? Now we are going to see newly added semantic elements. So these semantic elements have some semantical meaning. So summary is a visible heading for details element. So summary and details element always work together. Okay. So, and progress is progress of a task. Meter, scalable, scalar measurement within a known range. And figure, self-contained content like illustrations, diagrams, photos, and things like that. Thick caption, so that's a caption for figure element. And time, mark. Okay. All right. So exercise 3. So here we are going to see newly added semantic elements. So this is the progress. This is meters. And display, yeah, these are display menus, and this is summary and details. So this is a summary, and if I click this guy, I should actually see the details. Okay. So if you take a look at the code, so we have 2 progress element, 2 meters element. By the way, the difference between progress and meter. So typically, when you have a dynamic change, the progress is actually being used. This is the menu, display menu. Okay, and you have a toolbar, file, and then 3 buttons. Okay, and this is the detail. Okay, so rather straightforward. Let's move forward with the form element, newly added form element. So data list is introduced. So it specifies a list of predefined options for an input element. Okay, so it is used to provide autocomplete feature of input element. So users should be able to see a drop-down list of predefined options as they input data. Okay. Okay. So here we have input list fruits. So these fruits, by using data list, you can actually provide set of possible values. Okay. Keygen. This facilitates the generation of private and public key pair. Okay. So in this case, when the form is submitted, the private key is stored locally, and the public key is sent to the server as part of the form. So this is actually generally used. This is actually designed for web-based certificate management system. Okay, so this is not just for the end users. So this is mainly when you are building an application where you need to actually have some kind of web-based certificate to be created dynamically. That's when you can actually use this guy. So it is expected that keygen element will be used in an HTML form along with other information needed to construct a certificate request. So basically the form will send the form data along with the public key that was generated, and then the server might actually return a certificate. Okay. So the way you can use keygen, is inside the form you say keygen and name of the name, and then challenge and the key type. Okay. New form output. So actually, let's demonstrate each of these, one by one, so that you can actually see things. So data list is so if I click this guy, I should be able to see the possible choices. Okay. So if you take a look at the source, you can see I'm using data list. Okay. And the keygen. So if I click this guy, I should be able to generate. So I'm going to choose either high grade or medium grade. And if I say generate, it will generate the public key. Okay. Well, yeah. So basically, what gets returned is this guy. Okay. All right, the last one is, yeah, we just saw this one. And new form element is one of the third new form element we are going to learn is output. It represents the result of a calculation. So in this case, we have input element here, and then we have the output element. Okay, and this is the name, okay, of this output element. So basically, what we are doing is that we want to display the result of this computation. Okay, so basically we are basically using this result output element, and we are setting the value. Okay, and same thing here. Okay. All right, so that's the last exercise. So for that 3. So in this case, what we are going to do is that if I move this guy, you can see, oops. Yeah, okay, so it's changing. Okay, so it takes some time to change. Oh, okay, I have to actually, stop to get the value changed, like this. Okay. This example, I can actually change these values. And in this case, whenever I make a change on the first field, it will perform addition. So 24 times 10 is 34. If I change this value, it will do subtraction. Okay, so this is in fact the output field, this guy. So let's take a look at the code. So in this case, we have an output field, the example 1 output field. The ID is age display. And so basically, whenever things change, we are actually setting the value of output value. Okay, like this. And this one, we also have a result output element. And again, we are actually setting the value of that output result with these values. We just compute those values. Okay. All right. So I'll give you guys 5 minutes to do exercise, I believe 3 and 4, right? Okay. Next topic is newly added form input types. So it provides a better input control and validation. Okay. And if they are not supported, they behave just like a regular text fields. So in terms of time-related input types, it could be date, datetime local, week and month, and email and telephone and search URL and number and range and color. Okay. New types. So these new types used in mobile browsers. So mobile browsers can take advantage of the type and display keyboard display accordingly. Okay, so if the type is text, mobile browser will display this text keyboard. If it is a number, it will display this and things like that. So for desktop browsers, it might not be a big deal, but for mobile browsers, this type could be used to display the correct keyboard. So that could be useful. All right, so exercise 5. So here, Massimo actually found out that this date time somehow doesn't work, and I actually see the same problem. Okay, so it is a date. Okay, that works fine, and date time local, that works fine as well, and time input, yeah, so that works fine. Week, okay, works fine, and month, again, it seems like it's working fine, but somehow date time. Now that doesn't seem to be working with this. So let me actually try in Firefox. Oh, Firefox is even worse. Yeah, so this is actually this is even worse. Huh. Interesting. Okay, so that is date and time related input types. The next one is email, telephone, and other input types. Okay, so here when you do this, this is email. So if you actually enter incorrect email address, so for example like this, it will perform the validation. It will say include correct email address. Okay, telephone number. I think again. So it just take the characters as well. Okay, search URL and range and number input types and color like this. Okay. All right. So that is the other input types. Okay. And basically, yeah, basically providing these input types. Okay. Let's see. Exercise 5. Now we're going to take a look at the newly added attributes to form and input elements. We're going to look into attributes. So the form attribute, the form could have an attribute called autocomplete or no validate. Okay. So no validate means you do not want to perform validation. For input element, we could have autocomplete, autofocus, list, minimum, maximum, pattern, and placeholder and required. Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the exercise 6. So here, let's try this. Yeah. So this is first name is actually placeholder, and then it should also support the autocompletion. Oh, maybe not. Okay. This is autofocused. Yeah, so once it's done, it autofocused. Autofocused. Actually, when this page is, yeah, okay, so the autofocus means is that when you load the page, this will be, this field, it will be the one that has a focus. Okay. Again, this is email. Again, if you do this, yeah. Okay. Oh, this is a required case. Okay. This is email. So this is email. If I just go over here, oh, this email is probably not some. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't check the email format, but I think it's not. If you take a look at the email. Oh, it's a type email. Auto completion off. So you should actually check the. You should check the syntax. Okay. Okay. So it will check the it will do the validation when you submit. Okay. Right. So when you submit, then you can see it's complaining about the format of the email. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes to try exercise 5 and 6. Next topic is microdata. So what is microdata? Microdata is a semantic data attached to existing contents. So again, microdata could be used by tools such as search engines, web crawlers, and browsers, and they can extract this microdata, and then they can process this microdata and use it to provide, again, richer browsing experience to users. How they're going to use these things is up to them. Okay, so it basically provides more information. So let's say an example of the HTML fragment without using microdata and then with microdata. Okay, so this is the case without using microdata. Okay, so let's say you have a typical about page containing information about a person, and so you might actually have some data of that person for sections. So this is my name is blah blah blah, and you can visit my homepage, and I live here, and things like that. Okay. So it doesn't actually give any indication that this is in fact the address. This is an address. Okay. So it doesn't really give that much information other than just the text. Okay. And it doesn't even actually tell you this is a person, right? Okay. The browser or search engine doesn't know that, as far as the search engine is concerned or browser is concerned, this is just a text. Okay. So it doesn't give any meanings to this text. So by using microdata, we can actually specify more information to it. Okay. We can item scope. So item type is this is actually about the person. So by having this item type, you are giving some indication to the browser and search engines that this is an information about a person. Okay, and then for this item property is a name. So this is a name. Okay, and this is a job title. This is the affiliation. This is additional name, and so this is a street address, address locality, address region. So basically, you are adding more information to this data, meaningful information to the data, so that the tools, browsers, again search engines, web crawlers, will actually use this information to present more meaningful data to a user. Okay, so what we are going to do is Google parses the microdata from the example in previous slide, and it will in fact display the name, job title, affiliation, and additional name, and things like that. Okay? Alright, so let's see exercise 7. So we are going to extract microdata from your own HTML document, and then we are going to actually see an sample document that contains the microdata. Okay, so in this case, this is the same thing that you have seen in the slide. Okay, so basically when you read this guy, oops, looks like the link is not correct. So let's actually go to microdata. Yeah, 07. It should be 07. Okay, so this is this is what we are going to see. Okay. All right. Now, so as far as what you're seeing, the contents is not making any difference, but you can actually have other tools. So we are going to actually use this browser. Okay. And this is a tool that actually extracts this information. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to actually copy this whole thing. So we are going to copy, and then we go to this website, and this is actually a website that you can think of this one as one of the tools that can take advantage of this. Okay. So yeah, so click HTML, and then we are going to parse this guy and preview. Okay, so you can see this type of information is being extracted by this tool. Okay. Yeah, instead if you just provide this, right? Then the tool will not be able to actually capture any of the meaningful information. Okay, so this is an example of the tool. Okay, for the URL, we can actually take a look at the next exercise. We can actually see an example. So let's products. Okay, and then so preview. Yeah, so for this extracted, these are the extracted structured data. Okay. So, again, the tools should be able to take advantage of this microdata. Okay, so that is microdata. Again, this is for tools. Custom data attributes. This is actually kind of important. You probably have seen these examples in many cases. So you can actually use this custom data attribute to provide your own the custom or private data. So any attribute that start with a data dash will be treated as a storage area for private data. Okay, private in the sense that end user can't see it. It does not affect the layout or presentation. So private not in the sense of security, but in the sense that this is not going to be visible to an end user. Okay. This allows you to write valid HTML markup while simultaneously embedding data in your own page. So suppose I want to add, let's say, the ID or the name or screen name or something like that. These are all my custom data I want to actually have in the page directly. Okay, and then I should be able to access these things in the page in my JavaScript code. Okay. So let's take a look at the exercise 8. So here, if you click this one, read custom data. So basically this data is actually the embedded in the page, and I'm actually reading those. Okay. So if you take a look at the code. So I have a dev element, and I have data ID, data name, and data screen name. Okay, so three data items that I like to add here. And in my JavaScript code, okay, when I click the button read custom data, it's gonna call the read custom data here, read custom data function, and it's basically you can also add new items. So I'm actually adding another item called the data foo and bar. Okay, and then I'm just reading those things. And then I have an array, like HTML array, and then for each of those data sets, so I have 4 data items, right? 3 from here and 3 the fourth one that is just added. And so I created the HTML array with that key and data value, and then I'm just displaying all of those. Okay, so that's why you're going to see 4 items. These are the keys and these are the values. Okay, so many frameworks, the frameworks actually take advantage of this custom data. So whenever you see data dash, that means HTML5 custom data, the scheme. Okay. All right, so I'm going to give you guys about the 5 minutes to do exercise 7 and 8. Next is selector API. So HTML5 added JavaScript methods to the document object for selecting elements based on CSS selectors. Okay, so basically it will take a CSS selector like this. Okay, and then you can either call query selector or query selector all. So query selector returns the first node that matches the specified selector, and query selector all returns all elements that matches the specified selector. So in this case, this means the element whose ID is my ID. Okay, so find the first node which has the ID with my ID. This one is find the first element with CSS class my class. Okay. This one p.myClass is find the first paragraph element with a class myClass. So this is actually for returning a single first node. And this one is returning all nodes. So my class. Okay. So let's do exercise 9. So here we are going to try first class element. So get the first class element. Is that it? Oh, okay. So we need to actually display. We need to actually display in the console. Okay. So yeah. So basically, we are using the console. Okay. So get the first my class element. So basically the content of the first my class element is the first my class element. Okay, so we find the first one. Okay, so if you take a look at the code, this is the one. We have a 3 div element that actually uses the my class. Okay, the CSS style. Okay, so it will return this guy because that is the first one. Query select all is we are actually finding all of those, right? So in this case, we're going to actually display all of those. So again, to do this, and the developer, and then click this guy, then we should have first and second, and third doesn't seem to be using my class. So let's see whether that is indeed the case. Oh, so this is yeah, it should actually display all of those. Why is actually displaying just one? Okay, so let's take a look at this guy. One and two. So let's take a look at the source. Oh, okay, it's actually 2. Okay, so my document is incorrect. So I might as well just change the document. Okay, all right. That is select API, and let me finish up the presentation, and then we are going to call it a day. Descriptive link relations. So what is descriptive link relations? So regular links simply point to another page, while descriptive link relations is a way to explain why you are pointing to another page. Again, this is another example where you are providing more information so that tools can actually make intelligent decision to present the data to the user in the meaningful way. Okay, so it could be something like this. I'm pointing to this other page because it's a style sheet containing CSS rules that your browser should apply to this document. Okay, or it's a feed, or it's a translation, or it's the same content as this page but PDF format. Again, these are more meaningful information about the link. Okay, so again, it will help the tools such as a browser, search engines, and crawlers reading this page how to process it. Okay, so this is an example. So here we are indicating this is the CSS style sheet, and we are indicating this is a sidebar. Okay, so by having this one, mobile browser or desktop browser will actually have these things in the sidebar or something like that, and this is a tag. Okay. And you can actually see the registry of proposed relevant values if you go to this website. Okay, the link is not there, so let me just go over there. Yeah, so there are in fact a lot. Okay, pronunciation, accessibility, acquaintance, admin, Ajax, alternates, and you can actually define your own, I believe. Okay, so again, this is another example of the adding some more interesting data to the to the document so that tools can actually make more intelligent decision. Okay, so that's exercise 10. Last one is Web Accessibility Initiative, Accessible Rich Internet Applications. So ARIA is a spec defining support for accessible web applications. So it defines a bunch of markup extensions, mostly as an attribute to HTML5 elements, which can be used by the web application developer to provide additional information about the semantic of the various elements to assist technologies like screen readers. Okay, so again, by having these ARIA attributes, you are basically helping these tools like screen readers to do some more to present the data in a more meaningful fashion to the to people with some handicaps in various ways. Okay. For area to work, the HTTP user agent that interprets the markup needs to support area. So browser, in this case, when you say HTTP user agent, we're talking about whatever tool. It could be actually screen readers, or it could be even actually some browser. Down level user agents can ignore area specific markup safety without affecting the web app functionality. So if it is actually being presented to handicapped audience, and these things will be just ignored. Okay. So here we have the area has pop-up, so indicating whether this element might display a pop-up window or not. Okay. This one, document structure role, helps screen readers identify parts of the static content easily. So again, these are the information that will help the screen reader to make an intelligent decision. Okay. All right, so that is the end of the presentation. So let me just stop